pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. For those of you, if you are listening, we had a little technical issue. It's Tuesday and we usually meet on Monday, so it wouldn't let us log in. So that's our reason where we've been. There's nothing else for the agenda, Terry?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor? Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Minutes from February 9.
I'll make a motion to from February 9th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the minutes. Anything question? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. General public concerns? Danny, we're out of here. Looks like Matt.
Hello. This is an email that we received from the president of the Iowa Narcotics Officers Association.
Thank you.
All of the sheriff's deputies, the sheriff, the chief deputy, the sergeant, everybody is a member of the Iowa Narcotics Officers Association. What that is an association composed of law enforcement officers in the state of Iowa that the association provides education, training, any sort of ability to combat narcotics abuse and emerging drug trends throughout the state of Iowa. We host an annual conference every year, March, from March 17th through the 19th. It's in Des Moines. And the president of the association encouraged all of us to reach out to the Board of Supervisors and request that registration for the conference itself, as well as lodging from the hotel, be paid for by use of opioid funds. You can see on the front there, there's a bolds area. That's just a general synopsis of all of the topics that are going to be spoken about at the conference in terms of opioids and illegal narcotics and investigation techniques and stuff on how to combat all that stuff. So I will be attending this year. I'm just here to request that my conference registration and my hotel be paid for by use of opioid funds in the county.
Well, that's simple enough.
Yeah.
I
think as long as we have good receipts and stuff, we gotta track it.
We gotta keep.
So it's just you?
Just me
Okay.
currently, I mean, so far anyway.
Mhm.
I've gone every year for, I think this would be my 7th or 8th year. So
Oh, okay.
we have sent multiple people in the past. I know Lampy's gone, Ryan Stein's gone a couple times, and it's a very good conference. We have speakers come from all over the United States.
It's a pretty large benefit for the sheriff's department to have these guys go.
Yes.
Mhm.
And just simply working with the DME, the DEA, US Marshals, US attorneys and other organizations, it gives them the opportunity to network. But also when they work with those organizations, they've been extremely competent. So they want to keep working with our guys. Right, yeah. Deputy Sal does a really good job with this organization.
We need motion resolution.
Just one
I'll
motion.
make a motion to.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I
Thank
just
you.
have one request for, that you come back and give us a little
Yeah.
overview as to what you
Yeah.
listen to for your day or for your couple of days down there.
Yeah, it's usually, I mean, well, it branches off. There's a morning time frame and then an afternoon time frame over those 3 days. Usually it's about cut in half on Thursday afternoon, kind of get everybody out of there. Cause like I said, there's people coming from all over the state. We do have other associations throughout the nation. They send their board members to our conference to vet speakers for their conference.
Oh,
And like John was saying, the networking thing is a huge aspect of it because I would say 99.9% of narcotics investigations, we may initiate it here, but it's got a tie that branches out all over the place. I mean, so the friendships and the things that are built at the conference and networking stuff, it may take you to North Dakota, South Dakota,
Yeah.
Arizona. I mean, you always have a contact of somebody that you can call. That's the huge benefit to
Yeah.
this conference. So,
Probably don't have a whole lot of people harassing in the hotel then.
no, it's all the same. Everything's there. Everybody stays there. All the conferences there, so we don't have to go anywhere.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll look forward to hearing.
All right, I appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Allison. Look at that. We're only 2 minutes late
All righty,
after all of the.
I'll spit this out fast so I can get to my meeting. You guys know I can ramble quick, so. So second quarter of this position, I'll kind of start with some of the positives. So I'm utilizing what was called the sequential intercept model, which is intercepting on all levels to prevent and reduce recidivism rate for our jails and our individuals. So I've done the community level, which is involved like referrals from schools. I actually had Alyssa O'Connor from Economic Development call me. She's probably gonna kill me for saying this, but she called me in a panic about maybe 3 weeks ago. And she's like, Allison, I've got this person in my office and you've got to do something. I don't know what to do. And I mean, by the time people got there, she was broke out in hives. She was so stressed that I give her a hard time about it. And she had an individual who came in because she deals with the food pantry. So she came in and was looking for some ideas for housing and food and was obviously in a manic state of bipolar. And so I was able to deal with her on the phone, help calm the person down. I reached out, we got Jake Miller to go over and go ahead and pick her up and get her out to the ER, and I got her inpatient somewhere. And she called me back the next day. Well, she sent me some messages that night. She said, she'll never show up at my office again, right? And I said, no, you'll be fine. So that's kind of the first piece. At zero level is like I have the CERT meetings, the school emergency response team that I started in Pokey. We're going to try to start that here in Humboldt. And that's where I get referrals from the schools. Like I said, I've gotten the city clerk of Fonda called with a panhandler down there. So that's where the community calls me before law enforcement is called to try to intercept. Then, of course, the majority of my referrals are through law enforcement. You know, I go out with law enforcement, or like if it's 2 a.m. and they don't think they need me to go out, they'll call me on the phone and I'll deal with the client over the phone and we'll figure out a plan. The next level is the detention and initial appearances. So sometimes when they're brought in pre-booking or they're in booking before they're released on their own recognizance, the jail will call me and I'll reach out and I'll go and I'll try to work with that individual, especially when we have people like with no contact orders or those type of individuals where they need to have housing or something set up. The third level that I work with is if somebody has been in jail, and a lot of times these are when they're getting close to being released or we're having issues while they're at the jail. And that's kind of the best spot to deal with a client is while they're in the jail, they're more susceptible to getting services and treatment. And we have a new thing set up with our integrated telehealth partner for referrals that we can actually have therapy now while they're in the jail. And I've got CFR coming into our jails, particularly here to do their substance abuse evaluations. And then they can start and kind of, sometimes they'll leave right from here and they'll go to inpatient treatment. We've had a few success stories with that. The next level is level 4, and that's reentry. So a lot of those are reentry from either our jails, or we have some that come from our Rockwell City prisons and our Fort Dodge prison. So as I'll kind of bring up a little in a minute, as a barrier, that also can be a barrier too, because a lot of the prisons don't have that follow through with the handoff and they just kind of drop them and bring them back in the community. I'm trying to bridge that gap where they reach out to us if they're coming to my 2 particular counties. And then the last level is community corrections. And that's the individuals that are on what I call on paper. They're out and we don't want them to be have revoked probation or parole. So I work with the probation and parole officers to try to keep the individuals, get them into treatment, get them into housing, try to help them find employment, and then try to help them just maintain that. And so part of my one goal was to intercept on all 5 levels when I started this. And so I was able to do that the second quarter. Some other positives is our ministerial meeting that we have here. We added, we kind of rebranded it, added a crisis component. And so with that, we're able to help. We have some, 4 of us are able to fund individuals. For example, somebody's been in a domestic and they need a cell phone. And so we have up to like a certain cap that we're able to just go ahead and approve and help that person get a cell phone, or help them maybe at night in a hotel somewhere to keep them safe, or paying for gas. And these are things that we directly don't just provide the money, we actually get the card and we go and we take and we get the individual needs met. And then the other positive piece is I had the opportunity to present back in, I think it was on the 15th of January for the League of Cities, the Northwest League of Cities, and the chief of our whole state was there, was very, very interested. And I just got to do a really nice article that will be in their magazine that will go out statewide. And then there's been conversation about me coming and presenting my model actually to the entire state when they get everybody together for the League of Cities. Since then, I've had an outreach from Spencer, Sac County, Cherokee County, and BV County, and they're all interested in, because part of this grant is an innovative grant to duplicate the service and make it a model. And so they're gonna have meetings with me after the beginning of the fiscal year. We're gonna talk about for that next year planning on how they can come together and then maybe create a position like this and how I can have some oversight administratively and expand it. But I knew that I'm just still figuring out this position. That's the cool part of this grant is like, there's some things going into next fiscal year that I get to change and say, I thought I was gonna do this and this isn't working, or this will work, or I need to add this. And so I wanted to have at least a year to spend time to be able to figure out what really makes this position successful before I launch and engage in other areas. And I'll quickly just jump into our numbers quick. So this last quarter, there was 13 diverted. In October, I served 32 clients, 13 were new. And that doesn't mean that just 32 times. That meant that I might have seen them 3 or 4 times. We've done face-to-face video, phone calls.
Is this strictly Humboldt County?
No, this is both counties together. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. November, I had 26 with 11 new, and December 22 with 10 new. Normally right around after the holidays, we always think maybe things increase, and normally it kind of decreases until January rolls around. And when I give you guys my January numbers, next time I come, you'll see that January is probably one of my highest months. And with that, 75% of these that I've dealt with since the beginning of the launch of this position, they've still been that I do comprehensive, intensive, strength-based case management. That's the other evidence-based model that's part of this position. And so that is where I'm helping them get to appointments. I'm doing particular things. I've helped people move if necessary, and that's to help to stabilize them. So if somebody has no way to, they're being evicted and they need to move somewhere, or we need to help maintain that, or what do I do? Even though I've intercepted with these people already, the strength-based model is the part of that model that helps keep them stabilized.
Do you have other people that help you doing this stuff?
No, I am, that's why I had 127 hours in 2 weeks, a couple weeks ago. It is a party of one right now. And so, but it's needed. And the problem with that, and I can get into that with our barriers, is we don't have providers here. And when we do, we have wait lists. In Pocahontas, we hardly have any providers. And so I've found people to be providers even for some of these entities, and they've said that the Medicaid rate is too low and that they're not making money in these particular positions. They're called supported community living, is kind of what the strength-based model does. And we don't have people that are able to do that. They make more money doing something else that's probably an easier job.
Mm-hmm.
And so that becomes our biggest barrier is I can get a case, but then referring out is hard. And we have wait lists for a lot of things as well for individuals to get in.
How long do you normally follow a case?
I have some that I've started back in July that I'm still on. I call them my PRN, kind of like a medication PRN, where I just check in with them. And I will just always make sure how they're doing, because I think if we back fully away, having that person in case they need to call
Right.
makes a difference. The other model, there's a mobile crisis unit that can go out just for mental health calls in these areas, but they interface and then they leave and they follow up within 24 hours. And that's kind of the last piece of it, where it's not as successful because you need that follow through to making sure that they're getting to the appointments, the warm handoffs.
At what point do you feel comfortable that they'll be okay?
Probably never, but
Yeah.
that's just me personally.
Just say it's
You know,
like a kid.
I mean, trust me, there are a few right now there's one that's definitely like a kid that I'm trying to deal with. And it depends on, I guess, sometimes the dynamics. If they get natural supports in their system and they get reacquainted with like family members and things like that, that's really beneficial, but not always does that happen. Or sometimes, the reason why I'm not working with them is because they've moved out of county or
Right.
they've moved out of state, or, they'll make a decision I had one that moved to South Dakota, so obviously I don't think she's probably
Right.
doing very well up there, but she's not on my caseload anymore because I just serve those that are affiliated with these two counties, so. And that's kind of the other piece, like I said, with the barrier with our prison systems is I've had a few where they've just been, they've done their time and they're not even on what we call papers where they're being tracked by, a community corrections. And they're brought back to their home community and the one didn't even have medication. There was no meds follow through. There was no insurance. The person was brought back in. The family lived there. The family really was kind of estranged and didn't want that relationship. And now they just plopped him in my community without any type of follow through. And I feel like that's the gap that I really want to work on, especially with Rockwell City where, especially because they utilize Lorenz, Fisher Hydraulics, they often employ, and then they have the Sadie Street housing and Fisher Hydraulics pays for housing for these individuals for the first month. But they're bringing them into a community where we have no services at all. And it's a very strong meth community. And so it's, hey, before you're gonna, release this individual back into our community, because then it becomes us as, even if they're not originally from our county, us as taxpayers and are responsible for them when they end up in our jails and for their medications and things. And so how do we prevent that where I can be notified ahead of time and we can kind of have a warm handoff and I can get them on things set up for these appointments and get them into some of these, Medicaid back on. Instead they get out and they have nothing. And there's one within 3 weeks and they reoffended already, and now of course it's going to take probably the 3 strike rule before they're going to go back, but they're still up there and we're having to deal with them. And so how do we make that more successful for everybody? Because we're all losing in the end if they're just kind of dropped like that. So, and then I would have to say, the other thing is just the biggest change that we're gonna have here coming up, and it's already started, is our Medicaid changes. And I'm not for sure if you're all familiar with the fact that they passed that in order to keep Medicaid, you're gonna have to have 80 hours of employment. And that is extremely hard for some of the individuals. I'll use an individual, a female who obviously there was a domestic situation. They were pretty much both at fault, but she has a brain injury and I'm trying to get her on brain injury services now. And so in order to get her on that, she's got to go see a neurologist and she has to do all these medical appointments. She's only able to, I've got her cleaning City Hall, in Pocahontas up there. We were able to get some hours in. She's not able to do a 20-week hour job and she doesn't have the cognitive ability to have any other job in town. She tried to, and it was a pretty epic fail. And so now she's going to be losing her Medicaid when her renewal comes up here in June. And she is going to be eligible for the brain injury. She's got some very cognitive impairments. And so then how am I able to get her these services when she's not going to have insurance? Because unless you go to an ER, they're not going to take you for an appointment otherwise. Same with a lot of our individuals that are on like our medications that aren't on disability. One of the caveats to maintaining your Medicaid is if you have disability or you're on a waiver. Well, a lot of these people who, we think disability is really easy to get, and it actually is not. It takes an extended period of time, and often we have to get an attorney around on round 3 when we're dealing with somebody that has actually mental health. And so I've got people who are on medications right now and, for schizophrenia, and their shots are $2,800 for an Invega shot. And when they go off that shot, we're going to see some horrific behaviors out of these individuals if they're not medicated. And then, they're violent. They get very delusional, very violent. There's 3 that I can think of in my 2 counties that I know that at some point when they go off of their medication, I don't know what we're going to do. And going to an ER isn't going to fix that because you can't get that shot in the ER. You have to go through and get it through, and then even through the pharmacy. So that is a huge concern of mine as this goes forward with these individuals that I'm working with that are going to lose their Medicaid. So I'm gonna have to track them, and then I get a referral and they're not eligible to get Medicaid because they're not working. I can get somebody, but how does therapy paid for? How is their medication paid for? How is their med management paid for? There's not gonna be a way for those individuals. And so those are the things that it's a really tough time to have this position with some of these changes that have gone into effect in our state.
And that was my next question is how is HHS being sort having a discrepancy in Washington right now? They're defunding a lot of it. How's that affecting what you do?
So for what I get for grant funding, for mine is a justice grant, so that is not affected at all.
You're not affected.
I'm not affected.
Yeah.
I was a little worried not yet, at least anyway. In fact, I talked to Dennis, who's the head of my grant. I have to reapply annually. So I had to put a new application into my budget on, February 5th. And that's why you need to be there March 5th is I have to represent. You don't write the grant, which is kind of nice. You just have a 20-minute, presentation and a 10-minute question for continuation. And so that's what we have to do. And they told me as of now that we're not affected by this. So.
And is what you're doing going to be redistricted like everything else is in the state of Iowa is getting redistricted? Are they going to work on something.
Not yet, because mine is cause this is an innovative thing on my own little district, and so I'm hoping, my long-term goal is, when you guys remember the, administrative service organizations came in and met with us, the ones that took my prior position that I'd done for 20+ years. Um, they basically have some funding, and right now they're looking at, ending programs that we funded as of January. So they're ending a lot of stuff that they didn't feel was necessary to fund, that mental health regions funded. And now going forward, they're looking at other things to fund to try to help. And so I'm hoping within the next year, and after this gets done, that maybe there'll be a funder, because this is like a 48-month grant that I have to
Yep.
get things figured out to get my funding. And so hopefully that they will at least have some buy-in, and then that they'll look at this as not just for these two counties, but especially for our rural communities. You know, this is definitely a position for the rural areas, so going forward.
So I'm snooping on the CFR side. Do you have any issues down there when someone needs, when you're reaching out to try to
No.
get services from them?
No, because I've worked with them I have all their personal cell phones, so I don't even, if I would call, I will be honest, if I call the main line and I ask for a call or I leave a voicemail, it takes a long time to get back, but I've got Marissa, who's in charge of crisis stabilization, and I've got Michelle and Krista Johnno, so I go right to the top and say, here's what I need, and they normally will get me in and let me know right away. That's kind of why I've always probably been successful in this job, is if I could sell my cell phone, I think people might pay for some of those numbers. I got the head of IME to get on Medicaid. So I don't, yeah, they've done, I think, a good job. I think the barrier we had for a while that was fixed is that they weren't doing detox on weekends because they didn't have enough staff. And that was very, very hard, because if you wanted to put somebody in on a Thursday and you knew, depending on what they were, if it was a methamphetamine or alcohol, and they took longer than 48 hours to detox, they weren't able to take them.
Yep.
And that has changed now. So they're fully staffed, at least they were last week. So hoping, and they're part of this grant that we get here for the community too, for our alcohol coalition, so.
Good. Well, we always hear it on our updates, so I just wanted to know if we had issues, so.
I would love to have them, just to put a bug in their ear. We don't have a substance abuse provider in Pocahontas, and that makes it extremely hard for me. I've got to get people to Emmitsburg and BV and even to come down here. We don't have a provider over there. I've tried to get Mike Ryan, that covers this area, over there, and looked at, even I said they could utilize office space that they weren't even gonna have to pay occupancy for over in Lorenz, the city hall and the PD, but it would be nice to have them, over there, because that makes it kind of hard for me to try to get people out and about, so,
Well, it sounds like you're very busy.
yeah. I like to stay busy though. Any other questions or?
I don't,
Well, between, I work both counties, Humboldt, Pokey. Is there things that we can do better here that Pokey's doing, or vice versa?
No, I would say that I would love to have the opportunity to get the cert developed in the school system. I think it's been hard. Pocahontas is very, very welcoming in the school system. It's not that they weren't here. We had a cert group back when I was with the other region, and then we had some discrepancies. I think we had the problem with the assistant principal that got let go, that was in charge of that. And to try to get, I've met with Jim a few times, and I've met with the school, is to try to get the school on board for that and more referrals. So Pocahontas, I probably receive, 2 to 3 kids a week. If they're in trouble over there, they'll call about, and I don't get that relationship here with the
Get a
Humboldt
new
schools.
superintendent, so maybe things.
Yeah, and I worked with him quite a bit. Yeah, I worked with him quite a bit in elementary school.
So
We had
maybe he'll
cases,
be a
yeah.
little more receptive.
Yeah, I think that just having that piece would be beneficial on that level, to get them at that level before I get them when they're already gotten into trouble, or they're involved with juvenile court or DHS or some level like that, so. Otherwise, no, I think, yeah, you guys were the trendsetters with the ministerial group, so that's what I'm replicating over there now, so.
all right. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, you bet. I'll see you in the next quarter.
See you in a bit.
I'll see you the 5th.
That's you, Ben.
Morning.
Morning. Just got one item for the board, to approve plans and specifications for 2 projects in the county, LC 192880 and LC 393170. And approve plans specifications and set a letting date. Tentatively, we've got March 23rd at 9 a.m. written down, if that is available on your calendar.
March 23rd.
Yes. With today's meeting being Tuesday, I knew there was no way we'd get in the paper
Yeah,
for this week, so that puts us out at least until next.
Can we do it tentative? Cause I
yeah.
don't know if Terry knows if, I don't have anything that we wrote down, so
March,
we,
March is out there ways, it should be
Yeah.
fine.
Okay,
Both these are on DD two, right?
so one of these is Bridge 29, which would be on 260th Street, just west of Juniper, kind of by Les Bacon's place. And right next to Helen Peterson's. And then the other one is on 140th Street, just southwest of Bode, between Georgia and Hawaii. So two separate districts.
well, if we do the 23rd, we can fluctuate the time if it needs to be 9.
They just need to have-
9:15, just whatever, so we can set it.
The contractors
They
would
have
just
to know
have
when
to
to
have
have
their,
their
they'd
bids
have their bids turned in by 9, but if we're pushing late for some reason, I can open them 10
Yeah, we'll
minutes
make it
later.
work.
Yep.
Well, I just needed someone to make the,
I'll make the motion for, plans and specs and bid letting for March 23rd. LC 393170 and LC 192880.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
These are gonna be together and not do them separate.
Oh, we're gonna tie them together. Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
I'll have some plans for everybody to sign.
Okay.
That's the only official item that I have for the agenda, so. You guys are busy cutting trees last week. Getting phone calls about
Chipping.
wood chips in the ditch.
Yeah. They don't like it.
Most do. One did not. So we cleaned that up. It was about 3 skid loader buckets worth.
Oh.
So not much.
Thought maybe it'd float down the tile or something.
Yeah, it was on top of a snow pile, so
Oh.
it looked bigger than what it actually was, but
Yeah.
it was,
You wasn't 3 foot.
no, it was still 3 skid loader buckets worth, so we got it cleaned up. Should be fine. Otherwise, as long as the weather's fit, we'll continue whittling away on trees in the right of way and
When did we get our old pickup up here?
when the new one gets delivered here in a couple weeks, I got a call from Nate Blankenhagen yesterday. He said that it's built and it's on the move and we should see it in the next 2 to 3 weeks, so.
Good.
You'll see a claim come through here in the next claims process, so that I'll have the check on hand when the truck gets delivered.
Generator in yet?
I need to call him this week, so. It should be, I mean, we ordered them. What, about a month ago?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Get the new tractors yet?
new tractors are in. Yep.
They're in, or have you got them?
We have them, yes. We sent them back over last week because they were missing the beacon on top and the front fenders. So,
They were all shiny when we were out there, but, Bob and I were out.
yep,
The mower was soaked up, wasn't it?
yes, the mowers look nice. The hydraulics, the hydraulic tank, the way that this one mounts compared to the old Tigers that we
Better.
had. It's a lot nicer looking design, so.
It's not under Fender anymore.
It's still under fender, but it's a different mounting system. It's not as rigid on the mount, so
Hopefully it won't crack.
fingers crossed. So,
Did you have a problem with the older one too?
so the 2017 is the one that we had a problem with. The two that we traded in, this go around were 2007s. The hydraulic tank was actually mounted up near the, cab stairs. But with the newer mower tractors, running DEF, the DEF tank is where the hydraulic tank used to be at. So the new design has that hydraulic tank actually mounted in between the rear driver's side tire and the frame. And the 2017 tractor, we had, I think we're on our 6th hydraulic tank. It's been an entire winter, yeah, somewhere around there,
Vibration took it out.
yeah.
Yeah, it was just a constant.
It's been a winter up in Sioux Falls getting worked on. They put it through all kinds of studies and tests and thought they had it figured. We haven't had, I mean, we've done some spot welding ourselves. We haven't sent it back to them again. This next go around, I'm gonna look at a PTO driven rear mower. We'll be able to go faster.
Give it a shot, try something different.
Probably won't do the bat wing style. I mean, I know Wright County's got one, but it doesn't sound like their guys care for it. We'll just,
Sure.
yeah. Yeah.
We'll pass those around when we are doing our 5-year session.
Sure.
That work?
Yep, that works. Okay. Anything
Alright.
else for me?
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do we need to go into
Drainage.
drainage for that?
I'll make a motion to go under drainage. Yeah, do
We have a motion in the second to go into drainage at 9:18. All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign, we're in drainage. What are our options for,
Do we have some volunteers that will,
Well, I had made some phone calls and I actually hadn't heard back from anybody yet, so.
what do we need, 2 or 3?
We need to,
we gotta get them from off that way or off that way?
yeah, and
As long as it's done before spring, Brent.
I know
probably-
Brent would probably still do it. How about Wordland? Does he?
I believe he does it too, so, and actually I left a message for Brent, I was just gonna try to get it headed up for the meeting, which I did not, so, but I can definitely give Workland a call too and see if, you know, if they would be willing to do it.
Just Pat Hill still do it.
Yes, as far as I know.
Maybe she could be a backup if one of those two
Okay.
can. I'll make that motion for Brent and Wordland and Pat for a backup.
So we have a motion for Brent, Keenest, Pat Hill as the alternate and, what was the other word? Yeah. We have a second, so all in favor,
Aye.
opposed, same sign. Hopefully they'll all do it. Motion carries. Anything else in drainage?
We are going to have a meeting. This, it's on the one with Wright County, and I actually don't have the information with me at the moment. Oh, yeah, I do, here it is. So it's an engineer's report they got done for,
That's the
7
one
dash
Harold Strauss stuff
162.
he's had in about a
Yes,
few weeks back.
so, I believe it's next week. No, I think it's the week after. We're gonna have a joint meeting
Joint?
with Wright County. I'll let you know for sure on the agenda, but. So we're gonna do that. Other than that, I haven't really. Had anything.
But Colin got the stuff put together for him.
Yeah.
That was, I saw the report.
Yeah, I got the report from it. I just didn't make a copy.
No,
of it.
that's fine. I just, as long as he got that. So
He's
we're,
got that ready, so we'll meet with, or we'll do the joint call. with
and they're the
Bill.
lead, right?
Yes,
Perfect.
yeah. So they wanted to know if you wanted to do like, is a Zoom call okay, or do you wanna do a phone call for it? It'll be during their meeting.
When's their,
I think we set it up for 9:30, and it's either next week or the week after.
yeah, as long as, I mean, as long as our Zoom is working, if that kind of be fine.
Yeah.
And it's on a regular Monday, so I don't know what happens there, but. So, okay.
Yeah, we could log into theirs or they can log into ours.
Yeah, or if need be, we can always call them too and have them on speakerphone, so.
Have we been any place with that issue we got out west of town at all?
Which,
That's all.
no. Not as of, I will check on it though.
Oh, 126, John, have you heard anything from Lubenthal on that?
I will check back with, Mr. Martin.
That's in the pricing.
Okay. Yeah, please do, because, yeah, spring levy time is coming.
Yep.
So today is the 17th, so you're talking in 2 weeks, like the second?
It's, I can't remember if it's next week or the week after.
Okay, well, it's either the 23rd or
Or
the
the second.
second, so. But I'll put a note on that. All right. Anything else in drainage? Any other comments?
No.
All right, I'll look for a motion to get out of that.
Make a motion to get out of drainage.
Second. Motion in a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign, we're out at 9:23. We have our construction, are we gonna do that after, or you want it isn't during, is it?
How do you want?
Mine can be after,
All
Okay,
right,
it's just a work session.
that's kind of what I thought.
what I thought. Do you wanna do this discussion on the salaries?
I think we should get going on it.
Well,
All right, I'm gonna make a motion to have an open discussion on salaries.
I'll second that.
we have a motion and a second for discussion on our salaries for our budgets. We've been tossing this around for weeks, so I guess we decided to put something in here to have some direction, so all in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carried.
Okay. I'm sure a lot of you guys have talked to a lot of different counties, different people. My thoughts are we went 0 last year. Due to the fact that we had pretty tight budget constraints and. I feel like our employees did a good job of taking it. They didn't like it. But I think we need to do a little better this year for them. I've had some discussions with different supervisors around the state where they went to a flat wage. They just gave them so many dollars across the board, so many dollar cost of living wage. And,
So I'm just gonna ask you, instead of doing like a 5%, you're talking
instead
like
of doing a
a
percentage
15
of
or
wage, just do
whatever.
a flat dollar amount, cost of living increase for everyone.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood that.
I think it. The problem with the percentage cost of living wage, I do believe that was created by unions. To build their upper union management, get them more money. I'm not sure about that, but it's probably where it came from. And it just widens the gap every year. The gap gets wider. Not a big fan of it. But certain jobs require more money to keep that person. Because their skill level. So it doesn't have to be a flat across the board. That way you can pick and choose, because we don't have a compensation board anymore. And I do believe that our auditor's office in here, they have reduced staff by a person. So they're doing the work of 3 with just 2. So I would think they should be compensated a little better if they are picking up the slack. I think future wise, we're gonna have to reduce our staff across the county, just from what the state's doing to us. So that's my comments. What are you guys' thoughts?
So you wanna use an average of the group and then separate that average out, or just give them flat rate across the board?
Oh,
So we
I-
talked about it one time.
I mentioned to Mike about, just picking a number of, say 65,000, cause that's pretty average salary, or is it 63?
60, 59, 8, something I have it in, so it's just, be able to find it now that I want it. I had Shauna come up with or she did she took the top and the bottom off and give me an average. It is right there at 59.9, 59.8, can't find it, there it is. 58.927 is the average, taking the top 3 off and the bottom 3 off, so they give you that pretty accurate average, because the tops are 113, 122, 123, so we started at 90,000. And the bottoms were 39,476 and 39,000 even, so we got rid of them and just went with a 39,476 on the bottom and 90,000 on top, and that's a good average. Round up to 6,000, 60,000, that's a 5% raise. That's $3,000.
So how do you do that for, I'm just using the sheriff's department that has the tier 75% or 70% of Dean's salary? What do you just give that
I'm,
number and they come off the same, or how?
you could do it that way, or if you think the sheriff department needs more, I mean, we have flexibility to do whatever we want.
I would say run with the 5%. Yeah, do the same thing. Why not just, give Dean the 5% or
Go with
whatever,
5% for
whatever the number is, and the people below him are gonna get the same 5% raise because they're getting 85% of what he gets.
I'm for the 5% straight across the board.
everybody.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, with the sheriff's department, specifically the sheriff, it's based on the attorney general's opinion. You do need to make sure you compare that with the police chiefs, state patrol, ECI, and then the other sheriffs in similar sized counties, and then other sheriffs out of state and other private sector jobs, or the civil security. Not sure of any kind of other private sector jobs that translate or correlate with the sheriff, but something like that. Based on the change in compensation for the sheriff, you have to make sure to compare it to those things, and then when you're done comparing it, kind of like what Mike just talked about, like that move up on salary, the floor and the ceiling. You get the floor and the ceiling, you cannot go below the floor, and obviously you can't cut salary, so. You have to do that extra analysis for the sheriff that you don't have to do for the rest of the elected officials. So as long as we have that data somewhere that you can look at it and maybe talk about it a little bit, I think you're.
Trish has those numbers right here on your sheet.
Okay,
Yeah, we do have a sheet that we're using, and also, John, you've given us some numbers. I asked,
Yeah.
sorry to throw you under the bus,
No,
but I
no.
did ask for you to do that.
yeah. No, I think.
It's not like we're just doing this arbitrarily, we have done our
Right.
research,
Cause
that's what I'm stating.
because I don't know if everybody, you guys know it, but I don't know if the rest of the people. They changed the post section specifically for the sheriff in the back of Bluebell. About how counties are supposed to address the sheriff's salaries, so. They've added new categories for you guys, and I think that's been confusing not only for the sheriffs, but supervisors and anybody who sets salaries. In the various counties in Iowa, because obviously there's no guidance. And there's only been maybe 1 or 2 lawsuits, and both of those have been either dismissed or settled. So there's just not a lot of guidance on how to do that, and then we got the attorney general's opinions.
Can I ask a question, John, on
Yes, sir.
the Humboldt County, according to the numbers here, the population is 9617.
Yes,
So our sheriff takes care of the county,
right,
but the majority of those are in Humboldt.
right.
And he gets credit for those too?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm just asking, I don't know how they figured that
They
because,
give the sheriff's credit for the entire population of the county. And then when they say to compare the police chiefs of towns the same size as the county population, so when you look at that, that brings into kind of some interesting towns of like Grinnell, which is obviously a college town. Waverly, which is a little bit more than $1,000 or 1,000 people bigger than Humboldt, is also a college town. Then you have two prison towns, Fort Madison and
Bondurant is the top
and
here.
Bondurant isn't really helpful for you guys because one, its income is gigantic, and two, it contracts with the Polk County Sheriff's Department. So it doesn't have a police department. So as somebody, and then you go to Carroll, and some of these police departments have more officers than our sheriff's department does. And some of them I couldn't find any information on. So as long as you've done the analysis with the different things in the code, I think then you can set, and specifically sheriff, because he's been singled out, you can set his salary as long as it's in between those numbers that you found.
But I guess that's what I was, population rank, we're 76 and Dean said it's 66. According to the ranking on
Right.
pay, and I just run a couple numbers and the standard 3,000 we was talking about is gonna run into 116,000 versus 113,000, which puts him well in the range of that spec he was talking about. If we give him a 5% raise, we're talking 5689, which puts him at 119,000. That surely puts him in the range.
Yeah, that would put him definitely above the floor, and then. The top is gonna be probably 170, 180,
Sure.
and then. But if you put him up to 170, 180, he's like fifth in the state for sheriffs.
Yeah.
And if you look at the top 10 for sheriff's salary, those are 1 through 10 in population, I think. It's like Polk is 1, and then whatever's 2 is 2, and then there might be a couple that switch places, so. And then, yeah, so as long as you have the numbers and you compare the numbers, then the salary is available to be set within the range.
Sure.
And it sounds like you guys have done.
I'm just gonna you said 76 for Dean on, population ranked, and it would be 63rd on salary.
On salary, yes.
I
So
thought I
he's
heard
all,
you say
I
66.
couldn't remember, I didn't look, to be honest with you.
I just wanna make sure our numbers are right.
There he is.
Here I am.
Speak of the guy.
Yeah,
We done moving?
All the time.
we've been talking about you since you got in here, 8 o'clock.
I'm sorry, I had to go run and take care of a call.
Well, that's what we pay you for.
Appreciate that.
So,
To Ben, point here, another employee, we have also had negotiation, I don't know if you talk salary when you talk job evaluation with Ben, did you do that?
no, not a whole lot.
I mean, fine, let's talk that here, well, it's our choice,
Yeah,
I don't want to be upset you,
I don't think you're standing for
yeah.
that. This time, just.
Okay,
Do we, I mean,
I got-
we aren't asking to
I'm gonna
do
throw
this for the day.
I'm gonna throw something out there, and we can think about it, unless I'll throw out my thoughts. And we don't have to make a decision today, we can make it next week, but the sooner we make it, the better, for
Yeah.
Trish, so she can get stuff done. Because I got the sheriff here, start with them. Probably a 5% there. 5% for engineer. Difficult position to fill. If we would lose him, we would struggle to find a person to replace. And also you're doing a good job. It ain't just because you're hard to replace, you're doing a good job for us. I think I would like to use that 60,000 number. For anybody whose salary is under 60,000, they get a flat $3,000 bump.
They will get more of us than a 5%.
Yes. And the people above that go with the 5. And also a bump up for Terry and Shauna of $5,000 in their office for them too. Cause I know they're well below the other offices.
On top of the rate or,
Yes. Cause if, otherwise they're only getting bumped up too. And that's gonna take a long time to catch up.
So then my question is what happens if they decide in a year, we're gonna go back and put a drainage clerk in there?
Well,
Well, I'm just
I
asking,
know what you're saying. But they're
because
still
we're
behind the other
working
offices.
two people are doing 3 jobs, but
I
at
don't
the
think it's
same.
gonna happen.
Well,
Drainage.
I'm gonna be
Drainage
the
is
devil's advocate.
way less than it used to be. Gotten a lot of issues corrected and solved.
and to add to that, I'm just going to look at the other perspective of theirs, because they're giving up $10,000 a year. Versus what the other departments are getting paid. So they've given it up for 2-3 years. That's a substantial amount of money.
I understand that, but that's not our call. We don't hire in there.
No, we don't.
If they wanna run with one, she can run with one.
But it's our responsibility to pay according to.
You are correct. For the entire, from the top to the bottom.
Exactly. We hold the purse. We're the fiduciary, so.
I did leave John out. I didn't mention John.
We cut his in half.
No, I would, I'd recommend 3% for John.
Okay.
And 2 for the supervisor. So I think that covers everybody.
I'm
But that's,
speaking for myself. I don't see a need for us to have raises. I'm sorry.
that's fine. This is just a suggestion.
Yeah, it's just my opinion. I'm one.
And if we wanna do something today, we can make a motion, someone can make a motion. You can get it
No, I
settled
think-
today. Or we can mull it over,
And let's wait for your phone to ring
wait
and
for the
say,
phone to ring and my butt chewed and.
I'd like to know, I'd like. Without stepping on anybody's toes, I'd just like to have this, so we can look at it and say, this is this and this. As opposed to we just throwing 5 and 3,000 and,
Give Trish a week to put it together and see what it
yeah,
does.
that's my opinion.
And it's a start. I mean,
Yeah.
It's just a suggestion. Ben, do you know where our starting salaries are for our secondary employees compared to Wright, Hancock and Saratoga and? Cause I have a pretty good idea that we're below them.
For the starting,
Yes,
well, we've got a tiered start.
Yeah.
So right now, an employee coming in is $26.25 an hour with a dollar raise at 6 months and a dollar raise at a year to bring them up to 20.
so about 28.
Foremen are roughly $1.50 an hour more. They're around 25, or I'm sorry, 29.60, 29.50 an hour.
Which isn't a whole lot.
Well, it's under that 60,000 threshold unless you start figuring in overtime. That's where it's really confusing for me.
It does. And maybe it's big, more of a hassle than it's worth.
But
It was, like I say, it's a suggestion.
so the problem with comparing them is none of us are apples to apples. Brett County's got like 7 different kind of supervisory positions where they've got like a truck foreman and a plate foreman and a son. Webster County's got a northern county foreman and a southern county foreman, or what they call a superintendent. Superintendent is automatically like a $20,000 a year pay bump.
Yeah, they're a salary position.
We call them a superintendent versus a foreman.
Doesn't Koki do that with the superintendent too?
Don Sertz was the superintendent
there you go.
for years for Pocahontas County. And I know that automatically moved them up to like 80,000 a year. I don't know who their superintendent is over there right now or what his wage is. we've got everybody listed as either foremen or laborers for simplification. Other counties spell it out based on, what job duty they are. If they're a truck driver, it's this wage. If they're an equipment operator or a maintainer operator, it's this wage. If they're a mechanic, it's a different wage. We just simplified it years ago. You're either a foreman or you're not. And then some of them obviously are still union. In Hamilton County, those guys
Yeah.
are still union. So it's difficult to compare, but I did during my budget presentation, I think I gave you a spreadsheet that compared all of the surrounding counties based on their wages.
Cause there's a huge disparity between, I mean, I'm just, one of them made 64,000 and, just a laborer made 64,000. The next laborer made 61,000.
Yeah,
So it's huge on the amount of overtime one person puts in versus another.
Yeah, and which ones decide to take it as comp time versus.
That's the other factor.
Yeah, that's
We
the
can't-
other
yeah.
factor that's
Yes.
difficult to determine.
so maybe I thought it worth the crap.
And
It
one,
causes more problems than it's worth sometimes.
Well, it's just difficult to quantify.
To
From year to
calculate it
year.
out.
This year we've had, I mean, we started with quite a winter. Some of those guys took it as overtime figure and they'd still have the rest of the winter to.
Make
earn
up,
comp,
get
and
more.
Some of them grabbed it all as comp. And then they planned on banking the overtime hours as the winter went on.
Now will they wake up if it's snowing? Just teasing.
and that's what caught my eye when I first looked at it, cause you got one foreman that made 67,000, then next closest one 64. So went into Shauna and looked at, okay, well, they used theirs as comp time.
Okay,
That's a $3,000 spread, just
Yep.
because one didn't use and one did use.
which we've got a cap on how much that they can earn for comp and then. That cuts off, years ago, there didn't used to be a cap on how much they could earn and. We had
That was more.
one that would get 120 hours of comp time plus another 4 weeks of vacation. It was 7 weeks of paid vacation a year.
Yeah. So what do you think? I'm gonna throw this out there. What do you think about having a county foreman versus what the separated three?
We looked at it at one time.
You played with it once. I wanna know your opinion, just what you think of it. Is it an idea? Is it worth hunting for? Is it pretty stationary what you got?
It's possible, but in the previous breath, we're talking about cutting positions, so the position that you're floating is a new position.
It would condense the foreman job to one versus three. So yes, it's condensing the dollars. It's not, you understand what I'm trying to say? I mean, I'm just throwing it out there because it's a thought that instead of paying three people X amount over, you could pay one.
I don't know if you're gonna save anything,
That's what I'm asking you.
Cause then the
like you
form,
just said.
that guy really
three
all,
foremen are 65 and all the other laborers are 60.
Yeah,
So to give one county foreman, you're gonna pay him 80.
yes.
So
I
you're
understand
actually
that.
gonna be
Breaking.
marketing.
What does this say keeps progressing forward? It's going to, we're gonna have to go somewhere, like you said, we're gonna have to figure out where we can be better at what we're doing.
Reduction in
Reduction.
services to the counties.
Yes,
Less rock on roads, reduction of maintenance.
Less mowing.
Yeah, mowing, these local projects like we just approved, those would go away. We quit updating equipment. I mean. In my opinion, reduction in staff results in a reduction of service. So,
and timeliness, cause you can't get over all the roads that you.
I really don't wanna see that.
yeah, all of a sudden you're looking at. Us moving snow in front of your house on day 3 instead of day 2.
Yeah,
Well, the difference that we have now is you have the GPS that you can sit in your office or anybody can look and see where are they moving? How much they got done today versus when we're paving and we're doing a blading in the ditch or whatever, someone has to physically be there to watch. That's to me where, you know, the GPS is good to know that they got, I don't have a clue. They got 7 miles or 12 miles, whatever they should, their average should be.
Yeah, the foremen have, the ability with the GPS tool to keep tabs on their guys without physically putting eyes on them. It is very handy to them.
Plus we can, when someone calls, we can call you and they say,
That's my happiest feature, obviously, is in the winter time, you can see what routes have been plowed, what routes still need to get hit. If somebody is not gonna get done in time, you shift people over to make sure that we get all of our routes.
get it opened up. I'm,
Bob, what are you thinking? Just flat 5 across the board?
Yeah. I just thought 5 straight across, but what you brought up doesn't sound that bad. So, I think we can get it wrote down and have, go over it next Monday.
Yeah, I'd like to look into that a little bit more.
I know, maybe it's a bookkeeping nightmare.
No, not necessarily. I mean, I think it needs, some time to study.
So everybody's gonna get 5%? Cause first of all, you said county attorneys are gonna get 3%.
I did,
But now you're bumping up to 5?
no, I didn't say that. I was asking Bob.
5% across
I
I
was
said
asking Bob.
5 straight across
For everybody,
for everybody.
all elected officials.
Yep, straight across.
We're just working on something.
Yeah.
right now, Dan. This isn't the concrete.
Yeah,
Because we have different thoughts.
Do you have any thoughts, Dennis?
Yeah, I'd like to, I'm not so sure I'm ready for this 5 straight across. I'd like to look into this tiered. I'd like to help the lower end, a little bit more. That's me right now, I just. Spend some time more time.
I mean, there's a 2.5 and a 2.5, and you gotta consider the price of. Everything went up last year, now prices of everything's still going up this year. So you're kind of making up for what you lost last year.
Yeah, trying to make up something for last year.
I think all our employees are good, they do deserve something, and they took it well last year for not getting it.
I agree.
Yeah, nobody left, did they?
Ben? Yeah.
Yeah,
anybody?
then they leave, nobody
Everybody
left, said, hey, I'm not happy with that, I'm leaving.
Not due to
Wage,
wage.
yeah. I mean, that's why I say they stuck around, did their job.
well, the deputies, they went up 2%
I know they got that last year for
per union.
the union contract, so they got a little bit last year. And I understand your job is way different than somebody sitting behind a desk in the courthouse, it's a lot riskier.
Bruce, what's your input? She's empty. He's smiling.
He's still thinking about being full-time chairman, I know.
Yeah,
I mean, to me right now, that's a shoe, and if I do run for reelection, then I wanna make sure that I get that chance to do it for 4 more years. I can see it both ways, but I just wanna make sure that however we do this, and I'm not, Terry, don't get mad and take a swing at me, and I'm not taking anything away from anybody, I just wanna. Can we make all the offices happy?
Never.
Oh, I know that, but by us saying we're gonna do this for these guys, and then over here, we're gonna make these guys, you know? It's
But you
like,
know,
it's like the ribbon we give him when we come in, Dean will give you a hug. Well, we can't do that for the offices and make them all. But we have to make sure that we keep the people here that are making this place run.
yes,
I think the 2 in there definitely deserve it.
Yeah,
Because it's either that or they hire another one for 100,000, we're losing money on it.
Or there, an opening shows up in the courthouse and they'll go from this office to that
Right.
office
And make more money.
and make more money just by walking down the hall. And
Everybody has that
then
choice.
Trish has to start over training somebody and the hiring process in Humboldt really kind of sucks right now.
Yeah, it
If
does.
you talk to any business in town, trying to hire good people is hard, very hard.
And there's one office that we all call,
Yeah.
somebody calls them daily,
And it's always somebody in there.
and secondary roads.
Yeah. Okay. I'll call you later, Seth.
Well, I've never called down to the 911 and not been answered either, for sure. I'd just like to see the proposal that you made. I'd just like to see that paper so that we can say, all right, here, this is what we're gonna do. And we aren't gonna make anybody else mad.
Do we wanna give Trish an alternative to run? So she can run them both and we can look at them both?
Yeah, that's fine. So
Yeah.
let's just table it for
Well,
now.
but we gotta have the alternative to give Trish. What will be the alternative option? I'm not making that. I've already made one thing so I can get my phone ringing. Somebody else can do the other one.
I'll do the 5%. Straight across.
Just straight across.
Yep.
But if you do the 5%, then are you gonna be at the bottom? You're still widening your,
Yeah,
Yeah, you are.
still widening the gap.
And then what?
And like my opinion is they still shop at the same grocery store, they go to the same gas station, they go to the same restaurants. That's my theory. Behind it. But also. I realize. To get people to do some of these elected positions. If we fall behind too far compared to other counties and stuff, some people ain't gonna want it, cause it's not being an elected official isn't a fun job at times. For some of these offices are working behind these desks when people come in to pay their taxes or. Pay their drainage, find out what their drainage is costing them and. You know. So it's a tough job at times. So we got two options for Trish to run and take a look at it next week.
works for me.
So your option was 5% for the engineer and the sheriff. 3% for the county attorney and maybe
Yeah.
2% for you guys. So what was this 3,000? If you're below 60,000, you get a 3,000.
Flat 3,000,
And if you're above
you
60,000,
go with the 5%. Sounds confusing, but,
Then she up
and
there.
John, I'll just be straightforward. I think some of my reasoning is, in the past would be kind of shortchanged with you, cause you had the other part-time thing going. But I'm happy that you're not anymore, and we're gonna get you more. So. But I'm happy with what you're doing now. So just making that upfront.
And I think that's what you asked for, wasn't it? Isn't that what you budgeted? this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
That's what I thought. So,
I didn't ask for it. But. That would. What you were talking about is the 5% of $3,000 would that apply to me though?
what's that?
Would that apply to Delana though?
Yes.
Okay, so. All right, that's all I really care about, so. That's perfect. I would just point out that I think that whole. The code that talks about the raises, the weird thing about it is nowhere in the code does it talk about. Merit-based increases for your elected officials. It seriously, it talks about comparing.
It's terribly flawed.
And saying similar. And I realize for the elected officials, technically you guys would not be in charge of giving us evaluation, because we're supposed to be evaluated by the voters, but it's silly to me that the elected official raises have no,
Yeah.
according to code, no relationship.
There it
to
is.
merit.
At $3,000 on an
I
average,
think,
I'm just
you know,
using.
look at it here, his.
It's gonna cost.
It
he has a
salary
review.
is- is a review and
Seven
merit.
employees. Yeah, go 5%.
I don't mean to simply, I think you're not really a job, if you look at,
Well, that's,
how long.
that's why I did some numbers.
And how well
About it.
he's done a record.
Fuel.
How many
And this
complaints
is
you know we have to
quick.
deal with.
Very simple.
I just think it's.
Because we have 7.
I hate the idea of coming in and saying, I deserve a raise, I'm just here another year, and depending on the other guy.
Okay.
So, I don't envy your job on this, because I think it's
5% of top.
really hard, and I agree that you're probably
Kind of.
gonna make people mad with this, but you won't
You're
make.
gonna give the bottom half.
So thank you for,
The people make it less.
agreeing to do anything, or looking at doing something.
Well, yeah. Like that 3 or. Probably 3.5,
the
3.7%.
comp board is right.
On top of where the 5%, that's when that figure spread. Cause the 3.5, that means 5%.
All right,
Numbers.
So is that-
Play with.
where you're at, where we're at. And she should be able to run those numbers and then have the total for the 5% and, salary increase.
Totally confusing way of doing it.
yeah.
It's not necessarily. I mean, it makes sense.
So do you want those numbers for next week to review for all of my departments?
It'd be nice,
Sure.
because we need to get this settled and done.
Kinda need to budget what we're gonna need.
We do.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Cause just a straight $3,000 per person's $213,000. That's just straight. That's not any 5% or that's just straight $3,000. So that's how much more we got a budget for right now, just out of blocks.
Is that for full-time employees?
That's 71 employees.
Or full-time employees,
That's 71
30
employees. That's
30 plus hours a week?
No, that's not. I'm taking everybody that 71 employees. Just rough estimate.
You got a point there.
I'm asking a clarification.
Clarification for a part-time employee,
Oh,
we might have to make that adjustment because that'd be a huge increase for somebody who's making 30 hours. You might have to go to the 5% for that.
Yeah,
Does that make sense, Ben?
Yeah, I was asking for clarification.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
There's always these little wrinkles you don't think about when you say something stupid out of your mouth.
yeah.
I'm used to that, but I don't know.
So part timers just do a figure of 5% at this point.
Any other questions, Terry?
I don't think so. I
she just
I'm gonna
needs
go over.
paper, write more notes.
I do. I'm gonna go over it one more time like Dean did. I just wanna make sure when I tell trips. So we've got Dean at 5%, Ben at 5%, John at 3%, the board at 2%. You're using 60,000 or anything under 60,000, a 3,000 bump. Over 60 is a 5%. And you've got 5,000 for Terry and Shauna. And then part-timers 5%. That sound right? And then the other would be a straight 5% straight across the board for everybody. Does that also include part-timers for the 5%? Leave it at that, okay, so I will have her run the numbers on that and then have it done by Monday.
Yeah.
You guys meant to include the auditor, first quarter, the treasurer.
Yes,
He's Terry didn't have those.
the elected officials.
Yeah.
Would be at 5 or,
5.
okay, thank you. Did not have that.
First off, they're already over the 60, so.
I figured.
Okay.
All right. You wanna go to committee reports, or you wanna, are we just tabling that, or how are you?
Ben, or John, does that need to be as a motion to move forward, or does it just what we discussed here, giving Trish direction?
I think you just requested Trish to
Yeah,
run.
Run those
That's-
numbers
that's
and then we
what I
can look
thought.
at it next
You're gonna
week.
put them on next
Okay,
week, so, yeah.
perfect.
So we don't need to table it, just leave it
Nope.
alone.
Yeah.
Alright. See, that's another downfall of me running this for 4 years, cause then you have to get clarification and it just so much
You do a good
easier.
job.
You'll be great by year 3.
Yeah, you're doing awesome.
I'll be great, alright. Alright. I'm ready to go to committee report,
Alright.
and we can go to Ben's 5-year.
I'll wait till
Plan.
she's ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Tuesday, I had
Her
public,
hand's getting tired, so you wanna do
Getting
a stretch?
in my finger.
Tuesday, I had public safety meeting, and Thursday I had the food pantry, the drive up food pantry.
Oh, thank you, I forgot those numbers are in my phone.
That's all I had.
Good turnout on the food pantry.
No.
It started out, it was.
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh,
we
you
have-
mean for people picking up food or
Yeah.
or volunteers?
That's what I-
People
Oh, we had lots of people.
Oh, good.
to help out, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there were plenty. of
Well, that's good to hear, though. There, maybe the need is dropping off.
Well,
Yeah, we had a lot
it
of.
was a beautiful
It was
day.
a beautiful day, so that wouldn't hold them up. You'd think more people would show up.
I have the numbers from looks like they did about the same for the Livermore and Humboldt homes. About the same, so, but I think she added more food, so we got a little more food and a little less for the numbers going, driving through, but
Is she done?
What?
You done?
Yeah,
Okay. Tuesday I went to the planning and zoning, meeting down at, secondary roads. Thursday I did the mobile food pantry, and Friday at 10 o'clock, I watched the ISAC webinar and they're went over what bills are being pursued.
Yeah.
I didn't want to take up all my time, so I can say that now. Well, I haven't done anything.
Because.
Tuesday morning, I had public safety with Bob. Thursday morning, I had economic development at Bank Iowa. They're still working to hire somebody. They hired somebody and lasted a couple, 2-3 weeks and she didn't work out. So they're back to the hiring process. And from what I heard, they did have a couple good interviews, so hopefully they got somebody hired by now. That was the person that we were paying that extra money to cover. So at least they realized off the bat they didn't have a good hire and they got that corrected hopefully. And then Thursday I went down to Des Moines for IGHCP, or health insurance group. They've grown a lot. We have over 5,000 employees now that are part of the group. Over 10,000 totally in the group with the spouses and dependent children and things. Wellmark, Blue Cross, they come and talk to us, the first day. And they're very impressed how well it's running. Our group is well below trend lines. The trend is around 8% increase. We're running 2.9 and have been for quite a while average. So, what we're doing is good. Wellmark did point out that we need to have our employees do more screenings for blood panel screenings, colorectal, cancer screenings, colon cancer screenings. Just basically, take care of yourself, go to the doctor. If there is a problem, find it early, because it's way cheaper to correct the problem early than wait to have dying and trying to save you. You wouldn't think they're gonna say, hey, go spend more money at the doctor, but it saves them money in the long run. I think our risk factor was, I shouldn't say risk factor, it's our, premium to claims was 96%. The whole group was 92, so we are a little bit above average in the group. When I say that, you think, oh, 96%, that means that I think we spent 1.4 million on premiums and we had 1.3 million in claims, roughly. So as long as you're below in those 90s, you're pretty good. We've been as low as, there was one group, when I say group, it's a city, it's a utility, it's a county, we have 2 schools left in our group. So there's a lot of cities are in our group now. We've got Algona, Fort Dodge, Webster City, or some of them close by. But one group was down at 46% claim ratio, so they help bring down everybody else's premium. One group was 247. They had something bad happen to one of their employees, or 2 or 3. So being in this large group, it's a nice, even thing, so it's been good. They're not looking at any changes coming forward, because everything's running pretty smooth. Other than she's really working hard to find other people to bring into our group. Good, and they vet them pretty hard. They make sure that it's a group that is healthy, put it that way. That is doing the right things to keep their employees safe and healthy. You know, they're doing safety meetings and things like that Ben does, that helps a lot, so.
When we visited, you mentioned something about our reserve, we thought it needed to be higher.
Oh, our partial self-funding.
Yeah.
Is up from last year. Last year we had like $700 in it at the end. Right now we're roughly at about 73,000.
And we raised it, right? last
We
year?
raised it a little bit last year. I can't remember what it was last year. But I probably got a book in there. She was gonna run a 3-4, and I think maybe we should look at a 5. Because when we're already at 2.9, a 3 ain't gonna give us much. A 4 is gonna give us 1%. But she's gonna have the number, she'll come up and visit with us before we make our decision. So it was a good meeting. It's all good stuff to hear for a change. So,
I should throw that, I know CFR was looking at their, somewhere different, I should,
might be a good group.
well, now that they have Des Moines and Iowa City.
That'd
as
be a
well,
large
it would-
group.
It would,
Denise is looking, she does that a lot when she isn't doing these county and city visits, you know, meeting. And, the guy I was sitting next to, he was from, Waterloo Waterworks. He was a new guy. I mean, there's a ton of new faces down there this time. So,
did he have that look in his eyes, like what am I doing?
well. Yeah, but he was good. One other thing I did do, I went with Dennis over here. We took a little tour of the Gunder building during an open house. This property sits right next to the courthouse.
You buy that?
Did I buy it? No, it's coming up for auction Friday.
The rumor is that you bought it.
Really?
You just gotta write the check now.
Yeah,
It's the easy part.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
so, no,
And I asked myself, what would you do with it?
no. I was looking at to see if the county would have any interest in it. And there's parts of it that are good, but there's parts of it that are just not good. I don't think it's anything the county would be interested in. I mean, the only reason I looked at it is because it's location.
It's never been touched inside, has it? I mean.
No, it's like going back in time.
Is there any peas in there yet?
And pews?
Yeah,
No, but everything to make a pew is still there. There's a ton of wood, fabric, cushions.
really. See, it's up and left.
There's food in the vending machine. There's snacks in the refrigerator.
Stacks on the, you know, the design on the end of the
Yes.
pews.
The end caps,
Stacks of those.
stacks of end caps.
Really?
Yeah,
So you guys could get the cushion and put the years.
we could, yeah,
I agree with you there, I really do, those need to go.
yeah,
Those are the most-
I never thought about that, John, yeah, you know. There might be a reason there to buy it, that we can make cushions.
And office chairs. And office chairs.
We're gonna pull that out of the county attorney's budget right now, padding for.
But, you know, there's good space over there.
Oh. no,
But-
these are just-
The problem you have is county buildings are looked at different than private buildings. We have to be to different standards.
You do auction?
Right.
Right.
I went to that planning or that safety meeting Tuesday morning also.
You know,
What safety?
cause I thought it'd be a good place to move our lawn mowing equipment, snow blowing equipment. We got this cargo container out here that we could sell and put the stuff over there, but I don't know what the board's thoughts are on it.
Depends on, you know, if it's bought right, it's half sold, you know, so if we get it, but we'd get it bought.
I'd have to look at it,
Yeah.
I've never been inside of it,
Well, I think online you can look pictures,
is it?
yeah.
There's a lot of sawdust in there.
A lot of equipment in there.
Aren't they trying to sell the equipment in the building and everything?
It's two bids.
Confusing.
First bidder takes choice, building or equipment. Second bidder bids on what's left.
Huh.
Or the bidder can take it 2 times a month,
Plus they get to refuse
and then the owner can refuse.
if they don't wanna take either your bid or either the equipment or the building.
Sounds.
Sounds confusing.
Yeah,
That it?
And by the way, you know, the chipped up the wood chips in my ditch, I'd like to have those removed, please. Okay. You're right.
Yeah, that was it for me.
Alright,
Sorry.
Monday night, I went to the Farm Bureau meeting, Ben and Dennis and I and Dean were there for the visit and meal, I guess, meal was really good. For the most part, everything was good. Then on Thursday, I went to the food pantry as well. I have the numbers quick, I don't know if it makes any difference, but I can get them. They had 220 families, they did 7,418 pounds of food. Humboldt had 108 families, the drive-through was just shy of 300. The Humboldt Homes did 46 families. 60 family members, Livermore had 19 families and 36 family members for a total of 189 and 389 total members. They had 30 volunteers. The next one is the 9th of April, so. No, actually had a couple, the last lady took like three or four that she had neighbors that
there's plenty of food.
drop off, so it was a little nerve wracking. We had one car that overheated. We thought we might have a small fire.
Oh.
They got it taken care of.
One car hit another car.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, yeah. They had a
Probably thought we'd have to call Popo.
demolition derby for a while, but it was nice weather, so,
Yeah.
and Marshall was in rare form. Let's just leave it at that.
Gosh, I haven't had that entertainment.
Yeah, he wanted me to ride with him on the game on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
I said, Marshall, I had enough for you on Thursday.
Oh, really?
Talk to you.
So other than that, I think that was it for mine for the week.
Like Mike said, I think we can move the LAC over there and have the prisoners build pews.
Yes,
Work release program.
yeah, we could do that.
You don't have to leave. Why you leaving?
He didn't want to come out.
Well,
You really didn't like that.
look at the snowboarding and skiing and.
Yeah, they
The
can do that for
little kids could
entertainment.
have, So,
The prisoners can actually pull them back up so they don't have to walk.
Well, that's a good idea.
If that, we're done, let's move forward so we can get Ben his 5-year,
Plan.
make a motion to adjourn and we'll do the.
I'll second it.
Oh, the other thing I was gonna tell you, I'm sorry, I forwarded every one of you the email from, Rutland. The
Got
group
it.
over there,
Read it.
I forwarded it to John and Ben. So everybody had it for the planning and zoning, cause they had some issues that they wanted to discuss. What did you say, the 7 to 5 was the,
Yeah, 7 to 5 is the operating hours, Monday through Friday, weekends. Should and will be closed.
that was
Some,
requested by Susie
By
last
Susie.
week.
and sometimes you might run after 5:30 or 7 o'clock if there's a breakdown or if they have bigger job to do. So you can't hold them till, and number one, we do not set any of the hours for any of the other quarries around here. So we do not set the hours for anybody else, so I can't set the hours for you, I can't set your hours, so. That was, I talked to Cole this morning,
That's his expected hours, that isn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
inspected hours. So if
Yeah.
it runs over, if he goes over 5:30, I really don't expect a call saying, oh, you ran over 5:30. It'll be fine.
Pretty steady of when he wants them to operate.
Yeah.
The only time it really hedged a little bit is when we talk about, well, you know, if we have a problem or like a big order, we gotta get done in a hurry.
Right.
They need to operate later. Like the plan is not to operate 24 hours a day.
And that is scale hours, 7 to 5. So I asked him, does that mean that pretty much all the equipment, the loaders, the rock crusher dumping in was, normally that'll be the hours the equipment will run 7 to 5. All the equipment.
I would think production will run longer than that.
Well, it depends how
It all depends how
it
busy it
takes
is.
off. I mean, if they end up and they're dropping rock and they're crushing it and it's going out as fast as they're doing, they're gonna have to run.
Yeah.
So that's my point, yes,
Yeah.
Bruce.
To get a little stock built up. I
And like I
would think.
said, we don't set the hours for anybody else, so we can't set the hours for him.
Right,
Am I correct?
all right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjourning?
I,
Pose same sign, we're out at, holy, 10:20.
Did the motion.
Mike,
Mike,
I didn't say it.
I need to say that.
you gonna be
Thank you all.
busy after we're done? I mean, but-
No, I will plan on not going to lunch and I will just wait in my office.